Robbery, Manchester United won. It was Leeds United won at Ellen Road. Now, these are your five things, biggest takeaways we learned watching Manchester United in that game. Now, let's get into the first thing that we learned is Cunha stepped up. We needed Cunha, whatever you want to call him, to step up in a game like this. And a player who has been on the periphery, who has struggled in the last few games, particularly against Newcastle and Wolves, to kind of create anything. I thought today against Leeds, he massively stepped up. He was very good on the ball. He gets the goal. He was all over the pitch for Manchester United. He was our only creative spark in the game, and that's why you needed him to step up. He talked about the disappointment in the last few games post game, but he said today is feeling a little bit better. Obviously, United got the point, but we wanted to win, so we need to go again in the next game. And I thought Cunha in the spaces, he operated very, very well. As a player, he looked all right. And again, I think it was a very, very impressive performance by Cunha. And again, hopefully in the next few games, apparently Bruno and Mount are not far off from returning. So there will be less burden on Cunha, but I think in this game in particular against Leeds, he stepped up. He got the goal. Could have had a hat trick. I mean, he scored that wicked volley that was offside, which I actually don't think was offside. And then he had that one chance towards the end of the game, but he was creating. And yeah, I thought he had a very, very good performance. So shout out to kind of Cunha on that because he was very impressive in this game. Now the second thing that we learned, individual error cost us. And listen, it's not me. This is not me going in on Aiden Heaven because I thought other than the error, he had a very, very good game. And you look at that's the only goal we conceded. And it was that fine margin, that lapse of concentration, which cost Manchester United. And again, that will happen. He's 18, 19 years of age. He's a young player coming to the team. He's going to make mistakes. And it was just, he thought he had way more time. And he thought he had the situation under control, which ultimately he didn't. And it's a great finish. But I thought Aiden Heaven, all in all, I want to talk about the good things in his performance because I thought he was physical. He was aggressive. Calvert-Lewin's a player who scored, I think, 7 in his last 6 games. He's a physical player. He's a nuisance to deal with. We've seen it at Manchester United when he's been playing for Everton. So I think Aiden Heaven did well, but it was just an individual mistake that cost us. Now, another thing I want to talk about, lack of final third quality, and that comes from mainly Sesko. I think Sesko, the problems that we had from Sesko in this game were disappointing, and he is looking a bit Hoylandish. You spend a lot of money on a young striker. I think United just need to go out and get. I think Sesko can become a top player, but I think United need a ready-made striker. Look what we did with Cunha. Look what you did with Mbeumo, Garnacho, Rashford, these sorts of players, Anthony, whoever it was in that position. They were young players or weren't players that fit the job. Now United's gone out. They've gone and signed players who fit the system or fit the profile. The Premier League experience, they're a bit more older. And you look at Cunha, he's finding his feet. But as I mentioned earlier, he's looking good. He's scoring goals. He's creating chances. You look at Mbeumo, obviously he's at AFCON at the moment, but he's got 7 goal involvements in 16 games for Manchester United. So yeah, I think we do need to go out and probably sign an improved striker. I know Watkins was too old, but I thought he would have been a very good player and you could have got him for cheap. But I think Sesko needs to fix up because for a player that you invested so much money on, you need to see a lot more from him. He's only got 2 Premier League goals. He's not looking great at the moment. And I think Manchester United will definitely look at potential. I don't think we will get an attacker in because we've just spent 200 million on the attack. But something needs to kind of change in that position, especially now with the players that we're missing. Because I thought Cunha stepped up today, but Sesko didn't. Now, the fourth thing that we learn from the game today is Xerxes. I thought Xerxes had a lot of quality when he came on in the pitch. I thought Xerxes is a player who, for me, has struggled at Manchester United recently in terms of getting on the ball. His minutes haven't been great. His performance in the last game against Wolves, yes, he scored, but again, still wasn't great. Then again today he come on and I thought he was the best player in the last 25 minutes of that game. He was very, very good. At Lincoln play, he was floating around, he was dropping deep, he was getting in behind. And we know the quality of Xerxes. We just haven't seen it enough in games. And where he's playing with his back to goal, he's very, very good. And he just looked like the Xerxes of kind of towards the end of last season. He was linking up with players. Great ball that he played to Cunha. To get the goal. He could have had another assist if Sesko would have scored. Like he come on and change the game, and that's what you want to see from Amorim. As soon as they scored, bam, get the sub on, and you move from the game. And you try and get a goal. So yeah, all in all, I think it was very frustrating for Manchester United to see the way in which the result went. But I think Cunha massively stepped up. Now, I want to talk about Ruben Amorim for the fifth and final. I've already talked about kind of the quotes that he said, 18-month head coach, all of that stuff. I think he is becoming very frustrating, and that's 18 points dropped in Manchester United's last 8 games. And I think the pressure is going to continue to start rising on Ruben Amorim. You look at the last few games that we have, and what we have um, going in the last few games. There were definitely winnable games in that. You look at that Wolves game, that was a huge opportunity for Manchester United to get a result. You look at, yes, we win against Newcastle, but we lose to Villa. You draw against Bournemouth. You draw against West Ham. You lose to Everton. Like, these are sort of the results that United have dropped in their last games. So it is frustrating that we have dropped points. You look at our next few games in the Prem. You've got Burnley away. That's not going to be easy. You've got City at Old Trafford and then Arsenal away. So the next few games, and then you have Fulham and Spurs. So the next 5 games are very, very tough, and they look way more unfavourable than what we've seen in the previous 5 games. So it's going to be a test for United. Apparently Mount and Bruno are going to be back, but I think Amorim, the pressure is starting to rise, and I think this Burnley game is going to be a huge game for Manchester United. Burnley are going to be up for it. We narrowly beat them a few months ago. But listen, Manchester United, Amorim, pressure starting to build. We need to take sort of the positives from this game, which was, I thought, Aiden Heaven's performance on the whole. Le Monde saving Manchester United a few times. There were nice patterns of play. I just think we missed a creator in this game. I think we missed someone with a bit of creative spark, a bit of quality in the final third, like a Bruno or someone like that who would have just unlocked defenses with this passing. I think you also missed Burma as well. But that game is huge for Manchester United, and pressure and tension is going to be starting to rise in with the hierarchy. We have a pretty good result. Or form against Burnley, but it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a tricky game. But from the Leeds game, the general consensus and the positives and the negatives. The positives would be the fact that United scored a goal. Aiden Heaven, I think they were nice, as I said, patterns of play. From set pieces, we looked a threat. The negatives would be the lack of quality in the final third coming from Sesko, and that comes from players being injured. I thought, obviously, the individual mistake. But again, I think all in all, it was just a draw was a deserved result. You want to say a huge shout out to Cunha, bruv, because Cunha, without him, United would have been finished today. Xerxes, again, huge props to you because you come on, look like you can do something. Jinky Majinky puts a cross into the box, creates a chance, like does something for Manchester United. And then you look at kind of going into the next games, you want to get a result because that Burnley game is huge for Manchester United. Lose that, go out of the FA Cup. This time next week, we could potentially be looking at Ruben Amorim getting sacked at Manchester United. So, yeah, listen, it's a big few games coming up for Manchester United. We need to get a result. We need to get a performance more than anything. But they are the 5 things that we learned watching Manchester United against Leeds. All in all, I think some of the players did all right, but the 3 points we needed if you want to get into Europe. And again, it's another missed opportunity. It's another 2 points dropped. And we have to go out and win the next game. No excuses. Peace.